So we just went over the eat and drinking and to dwell where he will. Man has the right to dwell where he will. And all this should be replaced by human beings or whatever. I don't think he just meant men. I mean, at the time it was pretty misogynistic, and mankind and everything was used. Man in general was used as a thing for human or whatever. I mean, it means man and woman and maybe even uh, in between. I heard that he actually did mention rights for intersex people even way back then. He doesn't mention it here though. So anyway, eat and drink what he will. Is that a nod to maybe drugs, alcohol? Like I said, prohibition was going on then. So this is a Liber Oz part 2 we're going over here. I've already done the first couple of points. There's actually 5 points to this, which I like. It's Chaos Magic. Number 5 is the Chaos Magic number. Okay, man has the right to dwell where he will and to move about. So to live where you want, is that a nod to, we shouldn't have people being homeless. I agree with that. We shouldn't have people restricted as far as like their housing. I'm very much against that. I'm in Los Angeles. There's a big homeless problem here. And I think everybody should be able to get a dwelling. Very, reasonable, cheap, not, pay thousands of dollars a month like we have to put up with here in Los Angeles area. So man has the right to eat what he will, drink what he will, dwell where he will. So I think that's a nod to homelessness. That's how I take it. To move as he will upon the face of the earth. That traveling doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you think about it, people can't really move, travel. You need a driver's license or ticket or passport or identification. So, it is restricted to travel, to move upon the earth, or as he put it, man has the right to move as he will upon the face of the earth. Very poetic. Man has the right to think what he will. Okay. That's speak what he will, write what he will. Okay. So that seems like it's not that much of a big deal, but is this a nod to like no copyright? I mean, the write what you will could be. It's basically saying, anybody can create whatever art they want. To speak what he will. Freedom of speech. We have that here. We don't, in England at the time, probably not so much. And we don't have freedom of speech. I mean, you can't make threats. You can't tell people things that are considered fraud. You can't intimidate people. I mean, there's a lot of speech is not, if you plan a crime, even if you're just talking and they get you, that's not, you don't have the right to do that. You cannot speak what you will, even though we do have freedom of speech, but here in the United States, we have that. In England, probably not so much. I don't know the English law so much, especially when he was writing this in the 30s. Write what he will, copyright. I think that's kind of ironic that the OTO turned into a big copyright troll thing where they're not letting anybody, they're actually acting like Aleister Crowley is their copyrighted material. I know the leader of the OTO, William Breeze, gave Dr. Stephen Skinner a hard time about rewriting book 4 with his own commentary, which I think is ridiculous. And it totally contradicts this. Man has the right to write what he wants. If you could write commentary about a man about Aleister Crowley and his works, 100 years after he died, I think you should be able to, without getting harassed by some guy who wasn't even alive when Crowley was alive, which is William Breeze, the king of the OTO. I mean, they actually call him a king, Shabadius or whatever. Totally contradicts, I think, Liber Oz. I think they should be ashamed of themselves, actually. To draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as he will. So I think he's saying you have the right to create art, which and literature and writings and speak and write poetry and all that. To dress as he will. Okay. Is that a nod to cross-dressing? Possibly. Early nod to transgenderism? Possibly. Man has the right to dress as he will. Seems like it's a pretty common thing, but back then, if a man dressed as a woman, he probably would have been lynched. in the 1920s and 30s in the United States or England, where this is mostly the Western world, what this is at. So I think Crowley was saying, you know, you should be able to dress if you want to wear a women's clothing, or if you want to wear clothes like an Arab, and you shouldn't get harassed for it, which I'm all for, of course. So that was point 3. Point 4, man has the right to love as he will. Doesn't really explain more. He just has this quote, I believe from the Book of the Law: take your fill and will of love as ye will, and where, and to whom ye will. I think it's a nod to polyamory, maybe even omnisexuality, maybe even gay marriage, possibly even early on. Man has the right to love as he will. What else? Promiscuity is okay. I mean, I think he sees these as a nod to which later on probably became more like the free love movement in the 60s, which Crowley is noted as being a famous person for that. You know, he's like the godfather of the 60s. Okay, so that's point 4. Love as you will is a nod to saying homosexuals. He doesn't spell it out. I think he probably meant that. I think Aleister Crowley was bisexual or omnisexual. Possibly he would have probably identified as non-binary or some of that kind of stuff modernly. Number 5. This is you know, one I think he just put in there to be an edgelord. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. Okay, so that, I don't know what to say about that. If someone's trying to tell you you have to get a driver's license to travel, to move as you will upon the face of the earth, or a passport, then you can kill them if they do. That's not gonna go well. Someone says, "Oh, you can't threaten somebody," or you know, a copyright strike because you're saying something, you're plagiarizing, you're not allowing somebody to write as he will. You can kill them. Nah, I don't think that'll fly. Not at all. So I'm not sure what he means. I think he's just trying to be edgy. All these things are basic rights. I agree with him. I don't think you have the right to physically attack or do anything if somebody does that. So then he doesn't really explain that in number 5. He just has 2 quotes. The slaves shall serve, which I don't understand that. I'd have to look into that more, what that means. So it says, man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slaves shall serve. I'm sure somebody who's more into Thelema than me would probably have their own ideas on that. And then it has at the end, love is the law, love under will, which is the classic 93 saying of Thelema, which I think is a nod to, you know, it's kind of like a Western version of namaste. The love of God in you and sees the love of God in me, kind of thing. It'd be like telling somebody agape. So that's Liber Oz. And I hope I can discuss this more along with the Book of the Law and this, which me and Alfredo were planning to do a show on. So that was my live. I didn't see any comments or anything. So I'll be trying to go live more. I did this one, these 2. I had some technical difficulties, so I had to put this in 2 parts. So I hope to be seeing you more, and hopefully there's more comments next time. And 93. Reading from them, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thelema. Basically, that's the word. Your will. Love is the law. Thelema agape. Translates to 93. Namaste.